guys, welcome back to Yoga Time with me. Today I have a little bit of a yoga hack for you about how to help yourself from not slipping on your mat, especially if you're somebody like me who has very sweaty palms and sweaty feet. Just putting it out there. Maybe you're like me and you have the same issues. When I first started yoga like 8 years ago, in the first week or so, I was kind of like, maybe I can't do yoga because I have such sweaty palms and feet. And since then, I've been doing yoga probably most days for the past 8 years, and I still have sweaty palms and feet, but I found how to make it work. So I'm going to go through, particularly in down dog, how to help yourself from not slipping and really feeling more stuck and comfortable in your down dog. One thing about down dog, just to keep in mind, I've heard students ask me, is down dog supposed to be comfortable? Am I supposed to feel like it's easy and like it's a restful pose? And I would say no, right? Down dog is not a resting pose, like child's pose, for example. We want to feel like we're working in down dog, as annoying as that is. It's kind of like a yoga teacher thing to say, like you want to work in this pose. But it's an active pose. So we're going to go through a couple of the ways you can make self-adjustments to not slip, and also some ways with props you can help yourself not slip as much. And I think these adjustments and tricks and hacks, there are some I like better than others, and one that's, I think, the best, and we'll go through that. So let's look at some things you can do with props to keep yourself from slipping. The first thing you can try is to take a yoga strap, and you're actually going to use it in a way you're probably not used to using it. And basically that is just putting it across your mat, just laying it flat down, where your hands are going to go, and maybe also where your feet are going to go if your feet are also very slippery that day. And then all you're going to do is put your palms or your feet right on top of the strap, and then come up into your down dog. And basically what happens is the strap against the stickiness of the mat keeps you in place there and keeps you from slipping, right? That surface of the strap just helps kind of lock you in. I think this is a good one for if you're in like a public class at a yoga studio and you're really slippery and sweaty that day and you just want to keep up with the class and not have to keep coming out of your down dog. Go ahead and grab, I'm sure they have a ton of straps, grab a couple of straps and set yourself up that way. I don't think this is one you're going to want to have as a go-to, right? Like something you're going to rely on, because it can be a little cumbersome to keep dealing with the strap and getting it flat and laid down. And you also just don't want to rely on always having to have a bunch of straps with you. But again, it's a good option if you're in serious need, right? If you're like, oh man, I'm so sweaty, help me out, grab a strap. Similarly, you can also grab a towel if you're a yoga studio, or I've seen this a lot at gym, yoga classes in gyms. Gyms obviously have towels. You can lay it down where your palms or feet would go and then come into down dog on the towel. I am also not a fan of that really, just because when I've tried it, I feel like the towel, especially on my palms, even if it's a like pretty soft towel, just like irritates my palms. So I guess it's just from like pushing into it and doing it repeatedly. Again, not one I would recommend doing all the time. And then just one more thing on props. I would say don't get those gloves and those socks that have rubber soles. That'll keep you from slipping. Obviously they'll work, right? If they have that like rubbery, sticky sole, you won't slip on your mat. But I think those things are really easy to become reliant on. And then if you're just doing your daily yoga practice or however often you do it, it's just so easy to throw those things on and make your practice much easier. But in that way, you're not working as hard in your poses, right? So forget the gloves and the socks. There are better things you can do. By the way, if you're doing hot yoga, totally different story, right? You want the things that are going to keep you from slipping, because slipping in a hot yoga class could be way more dangerous just because of how much you're sweating. I'm sure if you've taken a hot yoga class, you know what I'm talking about, and a lot of drippage can accumulate on your mat, and that can actually be really dangerous. I've seen a lot of wipeouts happen in hot yoga classes. So what you should do at a hot yoga class is, a lot of hot yoga studios have a towel, a mat towel you can put over your whole mat. So you'll lay that towel down and then spray it down with water actually to keep it from slipping. So you spray right on top of the towel just to keep it from slipping. So definitely do that in a hot yoga class. If they don't have a towel, or if you don't have a towel, make sure you're moving really slowly. You're gonna sweat a ton more and be way more slippery in a hot class. Other things to keep in mind, just thinking about your mat itself, make sure you're washing and cleaning your mat in the right way. So you're gonna wanna make sure, in most cases, for most mats, you're not using any strong detergent or anything like a essential oil, like a tea tree oil. Stay away from that because it can take away the sticky surface that your mat comes with. You also want to think about how old your mat is. If your mat is like 10 plus years old, it might be losing some of that natural kind of stickiness it has built into it already. So you might want to think about replacing your mat. If you're finding that your mat is slipping on the floor, like if you're in down dog and it's just slipping around on the floor, that probably means you need a better mat, right? You don't want to have it slipping underneath you. It's one thing for you to be slipping on it, but this should be sticking really pretty well to the ground. If you're looking for a brand of mat you should try, if you have really sweaty palms and feet, I would really recommend Jade. Jade mats have always made me feel like I'm not slipping and sliding around. So let me know in the comments what brands you found that work the best for you if you're somebody who is very sweaty or just somebody who has found a really great mat. I'd love to know what's working for you.
Yay!
Okay, now these are my favorite adjustments you can make in your down dog to keep yourself from slipping, even if you have palms and feet as sweaty as I do, right? Which is a lot. Ew. So the first one you can try, and maybe this is something you've tried already, if you're a sweaty, slippery person, is to shorten your down dog. So let's say you're starting here, right? A nice length down dog. But even here for me, like my palms are sweating as I'm thinking about sweaty palms. So what you can do is just shorten your dog. So you can walk in your feet, and then you can see like my whole foot is now down on the ground. You can even walk in the hands if you need to. And then you're more stable here because the whole heel now is down on the ground and there's less, forward movement to go here. But maybe, like me, you don't want to have to shorten your dog just because you're sweaty. You don't have to. The other thing you can do, and this is something you should be making sure of even if you're not, slipping necessarily, you always want to make sure in down dog your arm bones are externally rotated. And you probably hear teachers say that a lot. And basically what that means is the upper arm bones are turning outward, right, away from your shoulders. So you can make sure you're doing that with this kind of little trick. Bring your palms down to either side of the mat and have your fingertips facing to the left and right. So right fingertips to the right, left fingertips to the left. And then as you do that, see your inner elbow kind of points outward. And then keep the arm bones how they are, but just flip your fingertips forward. And then take a look at your elbows, make sure the inner elbows are pointing outward so you're externally rotated. So that's the arm bone kind of setup. The other thing you want to do is make 100% sure every time your fingertips are spread as wide apart as really they can, right? They're not going to come off. Don't be afraid to really go for it and stretch them imagine like a gecko or something like that. So basically you're going to want to especially press into the pointer finger and the thumb. So this L shape is crucial in keeping you up and elevated in your down dog. So let's try it out. We're gonna externally rotate our arm bones. We're gonna widen our palms apart, shoulder width apart, and really focus on pressing into the pointer and the thumb. And then come into your normal length down dog. And you should feel pretty stable here, right? We're really pressing into the palms and the feet as well. Now, the final most important thing you must be doing, especially if you're a sweaty-handed person like I am, is in your down dog, you want to energetically think about pulling your hands back towards your feet and kicking your feet towards your hands. So you're not moving anywhere, right? Your hands and feet are not moving. You're just kind of isometrically thinking about bringing them in together. Let's see how that looks, because you'll notice, again, upper arm bones turned out, fingertips pointed towards the front of the room, really thinking about pressing into that L shape, right? The finger and thumb. And then we're gonna come into our down dog. And now maybe you'll be able to see my body kind of pull my palms in towards my feet. And my feet are just energetically kicking towards my hands. And immediately you'll find that your legs really light up, like they're really working here. And your core is also totally engaged once you start doing that. And you can kind of play around with that, adjust the hands as you need to, but really think about like working it all inwards toward the center. That I think is the number one thing that has helped me feel less slippery in my palms and feet. So if you are somebody with really sweaty palms or feet, or if you're just slipping a lot in your practice, I think you should think of it as actually a positive, maybe like a yoga superpower, because it's forcing you to work so much harder to stay up, especially in a pose like down dog, especially when you don't rely on props or, tricks like that to keep yourself from slipping. Really thinking about pulling the body in and working from the core, and again, pressing into that really important L that your palms create is, I think, really gonna help. So that's it, guys. I hope you found this helpful. Go crazy, get on your mat, even if you are really sweaty. Have fun with it, and I'll see you next time.